Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and welcome back to my channel, Stubbornly Bookish. Today I am doing an unhaul. Spring has sprung in theory, and so a couple weeks ago I decided to set a few books aside that I wasn't particularly jazzed about to read, and I gave myself those few weeks to think, do I truly want to read these books right now? And for the most part, that was a success. I have a decent number of books here to unhaul, and a lot of them are unread books that I just don't see myself getting to in the near future. I'm never going to say that I'm not going to read these books, but right now I don't particularly feel like it. I hope I don't have to do a disclaimer, but I'm going to do so anyway. If any of these books that I show are your favorites, that is fantastic. I just, for the most part, don't feel like reading these books right now, and it's not a judgment on you or your reading tastes. It's just my personal opinion. So like I said, most of these I haven't read, and I'm not really going to be telling the synopses of these books because we'd be here all day. So first book I'm getting rid of is Another Day by David Levithan. This is the second book in a duology that I'm not the most interested in. I picked this up because I needed to fill my quota and it was cheap. Along the same vein as Another Day is Breakaway by Cat Spears. I thought this book was going to be about a female soccer player, and that is like directly checking off one of my boxes because when I was in high school I played soccer competitively and I was pretty good, and that is always something that has interested me. However, it's about a boy and I really wanted it to be about a girl, so I just figure I'm going to pass this one along. The next one I'm going to get rid of is On the Other Side by Carrie Hope Fletcher. This book I do still intend to read, however I have 2 copies of it and I just don't need 2 copies of a book I haven't read yet. Carrie Hope Fletcher is a YouTuber in which I adore, and I'm excited and a little nervous to get to her books, but I'm going to pass this one along to a friend who also likes Carrie, and yeah, hopefully she likes it. The next 2 books are Landline and Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. I really thought that Rainbow Rowell would be an author that I want to get to, but I've read Fangirl, and while I enjoyed it, I don't love it as much as so many other people seem to. I do plan on getting to Eleanor and Park, but these ones, yeah, not too keen on, but I'm pretty sure someone else will really enjoy these 2 books. Next book I plan on getting rid of is Someday, Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham. I really like Lauren Graham as an actress, and I somewhat recently read her memoir, and she mentioned that her life story is actually a little similar to the book that she decided to write, so I just don't feel like kind of retreading the story that much. There's a lot of other contemporary books that I want to get to ahead of this book, so I'm not too keen on it. Maybe one day I'll read it, but not right now. I'm also going to be getting rid of Tales of the Peculiar by Ransom Riggs. This is the kind of short story fantasy collection that goes along with the Miss Peregrine's series. I'm not particularly loving the Miss Peregrine's trilogy, and I plan to finish it, but I don't think I'm ever going to get to this one. And it's really beautiful, and I hope someone will enjoy it. The next book I'm going to be getting rid of is Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. I believe this is the prequel to Kill a Mockingbird, and I'm just no longer interested in reading it. I thought it was really cool when we found out that we were going to be getting a prequel to Kill a Mockingbird. And it almost seems disrespectful to read it when Harper Lee herself really didn't want this published. So don't plan on getting to it. Yeah, there was really shady stuff going on about this one. Before I forget, the books that I have read, I'm going to mention super quickly. I'm getting rid of The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. I did go through a Nicholas Sparks phase in my young high school life. I actually don't entirely remember if I've read this one or not, or if it's other ones that I'm confusing it with. His books tend to blend together. Someone else will enjoy this. I'm also going to get rid of Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I actually really enjoyed this book when I read it, but I had a second copy because I bought a box set of her other books, and this one was included, so I don't need 2 copies. This book was really fun. I do recommend it. Now, a whole series I'm going to get rid of is the Pretty Little Liar series by Sarah Shepard. I read these books back when I was maybe in the 8th grade, and the last book, or what we thought was the last book, had just come out, which is this one. And then she decided to continue the series, and I think there's like 16 books in them now, and I just don't care. The books weren't really that well done, even when I was reading them in the 8th grade, and if anything, just watch the show over this. I do think that the show is better. Back to the books that I have not read. Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. He is a very popular author. He wrote Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. This was an impulse buy. I have no idea what it's about, and I'm not going to read the back cover because I might convince myself to keep it. The next book I'm going to be getting rid of is Pygmy by Chuck Palahniuk. I completely intended on reading this book up until maybe a few weeks ago when I saw a particularly negative review. Apparently there was a lot of rape and a lot of very gross, uncomfortable stuff, and it having like no purpose in it. Like there was just violence against women for no good reason. I don't really feel like reading about this. Chuck Palahniuk is a really well-liked author. He wrote Fight Club, but this one I just don't want to give a shot to. Another book I'm going to get rid of is The Accidental by Ali Smith. I don't even think I've hauled this. I picked it up recently. Again, an impulse buy when I was in a thrift store. Nearing the end, almost there. I'm getting rid of My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. This one, again, I actually do kind of want to read, but I'm just not particularly motivated to read it right now. This one interests me, movie interests me, just not now, and her books are always at the thrift store. I know I'll be able to find another copy if I am struck to pick it up. I'm also going to be passing along Deep River Night by Patrick Lane. This book I actually won in a Goodreads giveaway. This is a post-World War II story, I believe, and I read maybe 20 pages and I found the writing style to be incredibly dense and dry, and I just couldn't get into it. I then looked up some reviews on Goodreads, and apparently the female characters are treated pretty poorly, and I just don't feel like suffering through an adult historical fiction. I'm also going to pass along The Nest by Cynthia Dupree Sweeney. This was crazy popular, I think 2 years ago, and some people really love it, some people really hate it, but I've got, again, so many more books that I'd rather read. However, I'm having difficulty passing this along because I love the color scheme of this, but I don't need to keep a book because I find it pretty. And the last two books, my final books I'm going to be getting rid of, are The Cuckoo's Calling and The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, or also known as J.K. Rowling. I had every intention of reading some of J.K. Rowling's other works. I wanted to see what she was going to be like outside of Harry Potter, but in the past few months her behavior especially has been very disappointing, and it just kind of breaks my heart because she is someone who was a childhood hero of mine, but she kind of sucks now. She really sucks now, and I don't really feel like supporting anything new that she's putting out, and I know the series still continues. It's really disappointing, and I'm actually really sad that I'm ending this unhaul on a pretty sour note, but she's put a really sour taste in my mouth recently, and as much as I love Harry Potter, I can't continue to support her. I'm one of those people who find it very difficult to get rid of books on my TBR and books that I haven't read. It kind of pains me because who knows, it could be a fantastic 5-star read, but I have a gross amount of books on my TBR, and I have so many books to haul / have just recently hauled that it's frightening almost. My book buying speed in the past few months has been frightening. So I'm happy to be rid of these 20-something odd books that have just been sort of kicking around, and yeah, I hope I didn't offend you, and if I did, come on. So thank you for watching. I hope this wasn't too long. I feel like I actually have a snappy quick video to have done, and yeah, I will see you again soon. Bye.